Hi everyone, welcome to the Live to Inspire podcast. Today's episode is a very, very unique one. Special guest, very, very close friend of mine. Talks a lot of sense in a sporting capacity, but also has wider applications to, I think, everyone's life and circumstances, and how things that he's been through, he can take and has applied to his life. It certainly resonated with myself and certain issues I've been going through. So I would really ask you to listen all the way through. I ask him right at the end what are his secrets to success, or one bit of advice that he would take into life after sport. Well worth listening to, and I hope you enjoy. Welcome to Live to Inspire podcast. I have with me Matt Weston, a very, very good friend. He's incredibly tolerant of me and my inabilities to record audio. We tried previously, and very good conversation, I must admit, but failed miserably on my part to actually detach any audio. Personally, it was a great chat for 40 minutes. But Matt, how are you?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
No, I'm very good, mate. I'm very good.
Where in the world are you now?
I'm in Bath at the moment, but I'm only here for a week because I head out literally a week today to Beijing, to the Winter Olympics.
Unbelievable. So the last time Matt and I spoke, Matt was in St. Moritz, I believe, just ahead of your last race in the World Cup. Where did you finish?
Last World Cup before the... I wasn't that happy with it. I finished 9th, but I felt like there was a lot more left in the tank on that performance. But yeah, I finished 9th in that race.
So 9th for you is a below par, substandard performance these days?
Yeah, to be honest, yeah. If I'm not top 6, top 3, I'm sort of I'm not that happy. Or to be honest, mate, if I'm not on the top of the podium, I'm not happy. So, and even when I have been, I've been upset with my performance. So,
well, yeah, but that's a phenomenal mindset, right? And that's a testament to you as an athlete as to how far you've come from the fine details in your performance, that you can be that sort of 1%-ish.
Yeah, well, if I compare myself to sort of like 2 years ago when I made my competition debut, a lot has changed and I've learned a hell of a lot. But I think it's just sort of like an inbuilt mindset of I've got to be the best, and anything but that is not there. But that sort of, although it has a lot of positives, that mindset, it does also have a lot of negatives. So sometimes I'm always thinking, okay, what did I do wrong? How can I improve on that? But actually, sometimes I've actually missed some stuff that I've done really well, and not taking it forward because I've been focusing so much on what I can improve on, rather than also thinking, okay, what actually have I done well there? What do I want to keep, and things like that. So there's two sides to it, but yeah, it's helped me a lot, and it's that sort of mindset is what's pushed me to sort of get where I am in about 2 years of racing. So,
I mean, that's mate, as you know, I take my hat off to you. Like, to go from taekwondo and rugby to transition, I think very similar to myself. Like, you sent an email, like you went through talent ID process, and then in 2 years, from where did you start? ICC?
No, I started EC. I actually skipped out ICC completely and went straight to a World Cup. My first ICC was actually this year when we took a week off World Cup just to test a few things in races. So we took a week off, and that was my first ICC.
Phenomenal. Like, racing at literally a world-class level on the Intercontinental Cup, which is really designed for sort of, I don't know what the right phrase is, novice, beginner. athletes?
Yeah, I'd say probably there's like three tiers of racing. The sort of bottom tier, or like I say that it's still like international competition. The bottom tier of international competition for us is EC or European Cup, or NAC, which stands for North America's Cup.
Yeah.
You can then go to like level 2, which is Intercontinental Cup, which is sort of like a bit of both circuits and just a bit of both, but not quite as big as World Cup, and obviously World Cup being the top level of competition for us.
Phenomenal. I mean, I find it quite interesting you say as well that looking from the outside in on obviously your performances, I think we're about 10 years age difference apart, maybe a bit more. 20, what are you, 20?
Well, me, I'm 24.
24 years old, going to first Olympics. Been competing on an international circuit for 2 years. Unbelievable. The interesting thing is, I think it will apply to a lot of people, and not obviously just yourself, but what you said there about you can get hung up on the fine details of what went wrong, whereas actually the bigger picture is I actually did this really, really well.
Yeah. I've had a few races where actually looking back at it, I didn't take the best things from it. So say you have like an experience, or this could be applied probably to work or to sport or anything like that. Say you have a race or a meeting. Like for me now, what I do is I pick 5 things. They can be good or they can also be bad, like of stuff I want to either keep or take forward. You might not get 5 things every time, but it's sort of like it's what I want to take forward from here, and that can be okay. Actually, I think I nailed this aspect. I did this really well. I want to keep doing that next week, but actually, this is what I want to change. So it not only is are like my reviews, like, but I'm very good at picking out the negatives.
Yeah,
it's my coaches and people around me that actually have to help me pick out, okay, you did this well, maybe keep this as well. So, but that's one of the things I need to work on. But yeah, I'm quite good at picking out the negatives.
Yeah, I mean that's a really common trait amongst most people, certainly in us British. In that, I remember reading somewhere that if you listed the top 5 of your favourite things, how long would it be before you listed yourself? Like, it sounds really weird, but most people wouldn't go, yeah, I'm actually really happy in myself. Like, I love myself, because it comes across as sort of and arrogant, doesn't it? But yeah, so it's
Well, it must be a British thing.
Yeah, because you don't want to come across as cocky or arrogant or sort of egotistic. Like, oh, I did this, I'm amazing. Like, this was really good. Like, I think again, like people are looking for that next level, that extra little bit that can take them to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% agree with that.
Talking about that, I think I know I asked you before, but like one of your worst performances, or like a time when you weren't happy with the outcome, like when was that, and how did you deal with it?
Probably recently, one of my worst experiences was last year's World Champs. I was on one of the toughest tracks that we go to, a place called Altenburg in Germany. I actually really liked the track because I quite liked the challenge, but I was sat. So for us, World Champs is 4 runs spread over 2 days. So I was sat in 6th position after the first day, with definite room for improvement, and I could have hopefully gone for some medals, but we actually ended up changing the plan in between days, and I ended up crashing out of one of the big corners, Kreisel, which is basically a 360. I crashed out of it and ended up finishing 23rd, and actually only the top 20 get a second run. So I didn't the second run on that day. So I actually only did 3 out of the 4 runs on World Champs, going from sitting in 6th with room to try and chase people to not even doing a 4th run. So yeah, that was probably my worst race I've had recently.
And then, like, again, I know we discussed this previously, but the bounce back from that was revert back to the original plan. Like that, I think you went back there, didn't you, for World Cup
Yeah,
race?
yeah. So it was literally the day after we had a sort of team race, which is like you and like for us it was me and Laura Dees, who's another GB slider. We teamed up as a pair, and you basically go down and so you combine time of you and your teammates' time. So that's how the team race works, and that was literally the day after that crash. But I got given a chance to go by my performance director to sort of have another go and sort of put those demons to bed. And I think I ended up putting like the third fastest run down and being like only 600 or 700ths off the leader. So which would have been that would have been like medal positions on the actual world champs race. So it's like having that day straight after was a massive like confidence boost taking from that as well.
Yeah, I mean that's amazing. Like you said, it's almost putting those demons straight back in the cage, isn't it? In that actually, yeah, I tried something different. Okay, it didn't go to plan. It's annoying that it was at that level and at that time, but you just got to get back in the saddle and go again, right? And that, you know, I mean,
yeah.
Was it 2 runs you did, or was it 2 runs like one each?
Just one run. But yeah, so it's 2 runs joined together. But yeah, it was definitely a massive confidence boost after that. The fact that I could just jump straight back on and go race again. I've actually like I found that something you said just now kind of like made me think, and like although it was making mistakes and it was like televised and thousands of people watching and or like all over the world, so it's kind of like I've had to almost deal with that quite a lot because went straight from Europa Cup to then World Cup and trying to aim for the games this year as well. I've had to do a lot of my learning and a lot of my mistakes that I would have made lower down on the circuits where they're not so televised and they're not so like looked. I've had to do all of my mistake making on the biggest circuit. So sometimes things work, sometimes things don't. But no matter whether it goes well or not, it's everyone's watching, and sometimes it's quite hard to like think, okay, I've made this mistake, but actually, it doesn't matter that people are watching, or it doesn't matter that I've still got to almost pretend that nobody's there.
Yeah, and that's really significant, isn't it? It's you and your performance. I put it in my book, FOPO. Like, fuck other people's opinion, isn't it? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, like, if you're happy with your performance or you're not happy with it, you have to reevaluate, or one would evaluate and then move forward from it, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think you've got to almost be not selfish, but you've got to think like in these sorts of situations, you've got to like keep your head down and focus on what you've got to do. And an expression I was told this year is focus on you do you, and watch everyone else fall apart around you. Which sort of kind of has happened a lot with not only some of my teammates haven't gone to plan, but also some other nations it hasn't gone to plan for them. But actually, if I get sucked into doing all that, it kind of distracts you from what you're doing. So just focus on you and let other people do what they want around you.
So insightful. Love that. And that's, I mean, where did that come from? Your coach, your performance director, or?
No, like fellow athlete has been to games, and I think it was Lizzie, I think, that mentioned it to me. So pretty good advice.
Yeah,
she's done well in the past. So.
Yeah, dabbled a little bit in the skeleton world, right? So would you say, what or who inspires you? Like, aside from the games, let's take the games as read. Like, obviously, everyone wants that immortality, right, from the games and medals, etc. Aside from that, what or who inspires you?
This is a difficult one for me because I find a lot of the time I don't have like just one person that I idolize. I idolize a lot of how a lot of different people work and
Sure.
why they're successful in what they do. Um, I think if I was going to say one person, I really liked how, although I don't do the sport, but Eddie Hall, I really, really enjoyed how, and have been inspired how he decided, I'm going to go, sorry, it's a dog. I'm going to go for a 500 kilo. I'm going to go for a 500 kilo deadlift and didn't let anyone get in the way. Didn't let he wasn't going to stop until he got it, and he ended up getting it. So that sort of mentality is like, no, this is what I want, and I'm going to get it. That sort of that drive and that determination is sort of what I try to take into skeleton and try and how I have tried to be the best I can do.
Love that. I mean, I can't remember the exact. So I'm sure, I don't know if you know it, but I'm sure someone will comment with it. But I think he did the European deadlift champs or something like that, and Colin Bryce, an ex GB bobslayer, who effectively set up Giants Live. I think Eddie was holding. No, he did a 460 deadlift, I think, and then he said to Colin Bryce.
Oh, and he got interviewed.
Yeah, or he said to Bryce, he said, like, if you give me £1 million, I'll deadlift 500 kilos. And then it just became this thing. And then I think Eddie put in his book that he was paid an undisclosed sum to lift 500 kilos, which was obviously £1 million. But yeah, like, that feat in itself. I mean, I think he posted a picture the other day of him he put some of the captions like pure strength or.
Yeah, I saw that.
And what was he like? He was 192 kilos or something.
Yeah, 196 or like basically touching 200 kilos worth of bloke at 6'2.5". Like me and my mate actually calculated how much we'd have to weigh to be the same proportionate as him. And I mean, I like to say I'm 6 foot. Be a little bit stretching. So like I think I'd have to be like 170 or 180 kilos to be like around the same. Like
it doesn't even process, does it?
Proportion to him, which is crazy.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Jesus. Okay, so in terms of like obviously at the moment, like you got the nods, like you are now Team GB rather than just GB athlete. Has anything changed with how you see yourself versus how you perceive other people to see
you? I suppose for me, actually, like, yes, I've had the call up, and yes, I'm going to the Olympics, but actually, there's no difference for me personally, and how like the processes I go through, because I haven't, like, it sounds funny, but I haven't been racing to go half-hearted. I've been racing to go out and be as fast as I can, like whenever I race. So all the processes stay the same. Like, you don't want to change it. All the people I'm racing against are the same. I've been to the track, and it's all that. So for me at the moment, it hasn't really changed that much in how I view myself. That might change after the games, and when I can actually call myself an Olympian, and when it sinks in afterwards, once all the dust settles. But I can imagine it probably might change then. But yeah, I don't know how it's changed how other people look at me. I hope it makes all my opponents that are going to be racing poo themselves a little bit.
For sure, mate.
I quite like I really like the track we were on in Beijing. I picked it up very quickly. I had some pretty decent speeds quite quickly. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to going back there and going on all the fresh Olympic kit that we've got all prepped to go to. So not only am I performing at my best, my equipment is well beating as well. So we should. I'm just excited, mate.
Yeah, good man. I mean, again, for people that don't know, Matt's being very polite here. Actually, was a history maker at the start. Was it the first World Cup in Eagles, Austria? A three-way tie for gold.
Yes. It was a three-way tie down to the 100th of, like three guys on the podium all winning. There was no second place, there was no third place. It was really weird. Everyone was first. So it was, a bit of a weird one, but I don't think...
It's never happened.
Never happened before. Never happened before.
And again...
it was the first gold medal for GB in about 13, 14 years, I think, something like that. So it's quite happy with that race. Although even then there were some mistakes which I was like, I could have had it all to myself. So
yeah, and again, like context for people listening or watching, a World Cup race or Europa Cup, any sort of skeleton or bobsleigh race is done over 2 runs in the same day, and it's, for all intents and purposes, basically a mile of ice, right?
Yeah.
So for 3 people over 2 miles to come down in exactly the same time to the 0.01 of a second is, that's it. You can't even fathom it, really.
No, it just, if anyone's watching or listening, try and go on your phone and go on the stopwatch and see how fast you can time the timer down to the 100th, and then you sort of like, I was messing around with that the other day, and I was like, oh god, like to be exactly the same 100th after like 2 minutes of racing is absolutely nuts. So yeah, it's pretty crazy, that race.
Phenomenal, mate, absolutely phenomenal. And they, like you said, they are the same guys effectively that you're going to be racing against at the Olympics, right?
Yeah, exactly the same guys. There's no people that are different that are going. Oh, and if they are different, they shouldn't. It's more the top guys that are consistently on World Cup that I'll be having my eyes set on. Yeah. So I'll race with them week in, week out.
Do you have like a fairly standard daily routine or weekly routine? Like what are you training, like 10 times, 12 times a week, something like that?
We sort of work in like summer and winter splits, but at the moment we're in winter, and a normal race week I'll probably gym 2, maybe 3 times a week, and do a lot of like pushing. It counts as our like sprint sessions and things like that, but it's hard to keep up the volume of training on season as what we do in the summer. In the summer I'll probably be in the gym probably 5 times a week, sprinting maybe 5 times a week, as well as like additional sessions like core and loads of other things thrown in there. So yeah, the volume of training in the summer and winter completely changes.
So being adaptable to changing in circumstances is important, right?
Oh, 100%, yeah. Good
man, love that. So just as a little final thought, I know I asked you this before and it sort of stumped you a bit. What do you believe are or is the key to success? Like obviously you've had unbelievable success this season and no doubt we'll go on to unbelievable things in the next few weeks. Like what's the key? What do you think the secret is?
I had to think about this from the last time we spoke and sort of what I came to at the end of it. But I think for me, it's being able to be accepting of making mistakes. I think making a mistake isn't the end of the world. It's not gonna, like, for me, if I make a mistake on the track or if I make a mistake in my processes or whatever, yes, okay, something negative might come out of it, but actually you learn a hell of a lot from making mistakes. So you almost have to see them as a positive. Okay, like I've had that experience. Yeah, it wasn't a good one, but actually I've had it and I can learn from it. So there's so much, like, especially last year, there was a lot of times where my performances weren't where I wanted them to be because of X, Y, Z, but actually because those things went wrong and because they didn't go to plan, I've actually in such a better position now going into the games than I would be if I hadn't made those mistakes. A really good one is actually what we talked about earlier, the world champs, where I crashed because we changed my plan in between heats, and to try and like really push ourselves. But actually, we just need to keep the same plan if it works, and just go after better execution. That's something that I've learned a lot. And yeah, I crashed in World Champs, and I had a good opportunity to have some really good results, which actually would have also increased funding as well, which is a bit annoying. But that I've learned that now in a massive competition and where there's 2 heats, to rather than making that mistake at the Olympic Games. So it's actually I see that as a massive positive. So for me, making mistakes isn't the end of the world. It's just how you learn from them is what counts.
Oh mate, that personally that hits deep. That's you know, like I know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure, like not just in sport, but just in life in general, the amount of things I've been through. You know, things have gone wrong.
Mm.
And you know, we have to we learn from them, we adapt, we move forward. It didn't go right that time. I messed up here. Chances are I'm probably not going to do that again, because look at the outcome. And that's so, I think it's very poignant because it's so transferable, right? Like whether it's in work, sport, life, relationships, money, whatever it is. I mean, my sort of approach is the kind of Dr. Pepper thing, right? Like, what's the worst that can happen? If you try it and it doesn't work out, you've made that mistake, but you've tried it, you learn from it, you adapt, you move forward. Do you think you've learned that yourself, developed 100%. That, or have you picked that up from other athletes, other coaches?
I think it's what I've worked with a lot with my coaches and my psychologists and people like that around my team. I definitely didn't come into the sport with that attitude, sort of, because I'm so competitive and I want to be first the whole time. Every time I'm not, I would almost, instead of being, maybe before I'd be like, I wasn't there. That okay, next week's a new week, and almost forgetting about it and going at it. But actually, you miss a hell of a lot of things that you can take forward and actually make your performance stronger. Yeah. And like you say, I think it's actually quite a good one to take into the real world as well, not just being an athlete and racing, but the real world. There's definitely situations where, okay, right, I messed up there, that didn't go to plan, but actually this is why it didn't go to plan, and this is how I'm going to take forward, like what I'm going to take forward to ensure that doesn't happen again, or it happens in a different way. So I think that's probably one thing that I'll take forward from skeleton as well.
Absolutely phenomenal bit of advice. I'd implore anyone to utilise that in their day-to-day life, not just as an Olympic athlete going to the games for Great Britain. It's as always, like, I mean, how long we known each other? I don't know, years, whatever it is. Personally, you've helped me a lot. As I'm sure you know, over the last few years, we've trained together. I don't think we actually crossed paths on season at any point, though, did we?
No, not when we were away, but quite a few times in the gym at home.
Oh, that we did, yeah. Many a split squat session and walking lunges and pushing Range Rovers for sure. But yeah, you got to do what you got to do, right? Like you said, if you've got a dream, you've got to go after it, and however it is, whatever you got to do, a bit of self-belief, self-worth, you know, speaks volumes, mate. The fact that you're in the position that you are. What are your socials, just so that if anyone's faintly curious as to what you're doing and where you're going, let us know.
I mainly use Instagram. It's kind of linked with my Facebook as well, but it's Matt_Weston_skeleton. So yeah, that's my Insta if you want to check out sort of some of the training I do and where I'm racing next.
Bit of advice: don't try and copy what he does. Absolute beast, this guy, absolute beast. I'm still trying to match his split squat. Nowhere near, absolutely nowhere near.
It's just one of them things I'm weirdly good at.
Yeah, given that your legs are like a robin. Yeah. One day I'll get it. One day. But yeah, mate, all the best. And hopefully we can catch up post games and tell us all about the experience, right?
Yeah, 100%. I'd love it.
Love that. Wicked. All right, mate. Well, we will speak soon.